All right, so this is going to be sort of a two-in-one video because we're going to be covering both counterbalancing your putter, but we're going to be doing it with maybe the most interesting grip I've ever seen. Let's go. Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a wonderful day. So we're going to be covering two separate but linked topics here, both counterbalancing and a very unique design for a putter grip, both of which are coming to us from Sense golf grips. The guys over at Sense sent me this to try it out, so I figure this is my first time messing around with it. We're going to put it on film and just kind of see what happens. Now let me show you what comes in this box because it's a pretty elaborate setup. First up, we've got a grip, and it is not just any grip because it is, as you can see, essentially a rectangular prism of a grip. It is completely rectangular, flat on all four sides. There is not a curved edge anywhere on this putter grip. Comes in both a rectangular version, also comes in a square version, but we're going to be using this guy today. Also comes with this long rod. And in case you can't figure out what's going to be happening here, this rod's going to be going down inside the shaft, and we're going to be attaching weights to it in order to counterbalance, in order to change the balance of our putter. We've also got a bunch of different little weights that are going to screw on to that rod so that we can both change the amount of weight and change the position of the weight. And finally, or two more things. One, we've got this little tool that we're going to need, I guess, to sort of tighten everything up and make sure it stays in place and doesn't rattle or anything like that. And finally, they give us this little level block, which we're going to be using when we install the putter grip to make sure everything is nice and straight. I figure best way to do this is we're going to do a little putting contest. So I have laid out a 5-hole putting course here in the studio. I've got a couple 6-foot putts, I've got a 10-foot putt, I've got a couple 12-foot putts. Some of them have a little bit of break just because of the way that the concrete subfloor is in here. And so I think it's a pretty good representation. There's a little bit of variety in it. Now how we're going to measure all this? Well, it's a putting contest, so lowest score is going to win. But on top of that, I'm also going to just be self-evaluating through this. And if I hit a putt that I just think was a bad stroke, I just make a bad stroke, the contact wasn't good, or I just don't like it, I'm going to give myself a penalty stroke on top of that. All right, let's get started. So first thing we need to do is we're going to run the course with just my standard pure grip on my Astral putter. I've already putted all these holes a few times, so I'm not going into this cold, so I don't think there's any disadvantage to going first versus going last. I think it'll all be pretty even. First time around using my standard grip, no counterbalancing. Total score for the 5 holes was 9. That was 8 actual putts, and then I gave myself 1 penalty stroke on that second hole where I just felt that was just not a good stroke. That's a putt that I should usually make. So extra stroke there, grand total 9. We need to build up the size of this shaft a little bit. Now when you're installing this, also be aware that one of the two sides has threading on the inside where we're going to slide that rod down and screw it in here. The other side does not. Obviously, this is the side that you want going towards the head of the putter. All right, so now I think we have the progressive buildup the way it should be. So we should be at 0.6, 0.61, 0.62. 0.6, 0.61, 0.62. Perfect. Next up, we're going to put a piece of double-sided tape. So we're going to put one layer. All right, next we're going to use our little leveling block, and we're going to rubber band it to the face of the putter, and that's going to tell us that we have our putter nice and straight up and down in the vise. So we'll put this on here like that. Right like that. All right, at this point, now we just want to make sure that the grip is on there nice and square to the face. So we're going to use the level, but first I'm just going to see how good I am without it because I usually don't use one. So let's see how good I am at just lining things up with my eye. Okay, here is the Sense grip on the putter. It is now dry. We've cut away the extra tape that was sort of hanging over down here. As far as the little leveling block goes, it's a little bit hit or miss in the end because even though this grip is, yes, very straight and very flat on all the sides, it's not perfectly flat. And so when you put this on there, there's still some wiggle room. It still wants to sort of lean one way or the other depending on exactly where you put it. So is it helpful if you're worried about having that grip on straight? Yes. If you're used to putting putter grips on and you have a pretty good eye for it, I don't think it's really overly necessary or helpful. But if you do worry about it and you're just not quite sure, then I'd say, yeah, go ahead and use it. But that being said, we now have the Sense putter grip on here. None of the extra weight, none of the counterbalancing yet, but we're now going to go through the 5-hole putting course and see what I do with just this very rectangular grip. Total score for the 5 holes was once again 9. Pretty similar to the first go around. Had 8 putts and then I gave myself 1 penalty stroke because I felt like that last hole, the first putt I made, was just not a very good stroke. So tie between my original grip and just the Sense grip without any extra weight. Okay, next up we're going to start adding some weight to this. I've already taken this little end piece off this and we're going to slide on both our 30 gram and our 20 gram to give us a grand total of 50 grams onto this little rod here. So we'll put the, I don't think it makes any difference which one we do first. We'll put the 30 on first and then use this little tool to tighten this little piece down here. We'll kind of put it down towards, maybe we'll keep it more neutral, sort of down by the center of the shaft. So we'll go down here and tighten this one up. Well, it has little lines here, so maybe we'll stay within those lines. So this one we'll put right there, and now we'll put this one right above it, just like that. We'll tighten this one down as well. If I can get this little thing in here. Okay, so now these are on here. They're not moving around. It should hopefully not make any noise. And now we'll put the little end piece one back on again. We'll tighten it up. So again, hopefully nothing rattles around. All right, now everything is on there. And now we're just going to slide this down inside the shaft, and you can see that basically it's going to end up right here at the bottom of the grip, kind of the top part of the shaft right here is where this weight's going to sit. And well, we'll see what happens. See if it goes all the way down with all this stuff on it. Okay, and now we'll use our big wrench head and start screwing this thing on here. All right, and that's tight. Okay. Doesn't appear to rattle or anything like that. I don't hear any kind of jingling noises, so that's good. So I think we should be good. Definitely feels a little bit heavier. I don't know that if I didn't know where I put the weight, I'd be able to pinpoint where it is, but it definitely feels like there's more mass in the putter. I think I kind of like it, so I'm going to hit a few practice putts with it, just like I've done with everything, and then we'll run the course again. All right, my score with the 50 extra grams of weight down here in the lower section of the sense grip, well, it was once again 9. Again, I had 8 strokes, and I gave myself 1 penalty stroke for my first putt on that third hole that I just hit way too hard, and so had to give myself a penalty there. I think the weight as it is in this setup makes it easier for me to keep the putter on line, but it makes it more difficult for me to control the speed, at least not being overly used to it so far. So this one definitely threw me a little bit with 50 grams of weight all up here in the top, because when I put it in and started just sort of swinging it back and forth, it felt very odd. It felt very foreign to me. So I wasn't overly optimistic, but then when I started taking some practice putts, I made the first 2 practice putts I took. So I was like, well, maybe this is actually the best of both worlds. Ran through the putting course, made the first 2 putts. Everything seemed like this is going great. And then the wheels kind of came off a little bit, hit it way too hard on the third hole, had to take a penalty stroke, I felt, for that one. 2-putted the last 2 holes, albeit the 4th hole, that could have gone in. I feel like it may have just been a little wobble in the putting surface, but overall, I still didn't feel super confident with it. It just didn't quite feel right. So that being said, we're going to try one last configuration in this test and see maybe if we do kind of a combination. So what I've done here is I kept the 30-gram weight all the way up here at the very end, and then I switched out the 20 for the 10-gram weight, and I put the 10 all the way down here. So we've split the weight. We've got 30 here, we've got 10 here. Maybe that's going to give us a better sort of combination of feel, and hopefully that give us better distance control and face control. We'll see what happens. Well, I am nothing if not consistent. Once again, 9 strokes total on the 5-hole course. However, 2 caveats to that. One, I did not feel like I had to give myself any penalty strokes on this last one. None of the putts were bad enough, I deemed, to penalize myself. And 2, even though the last 2 holes were both 2s, those putts very well could have and should have gone in, I felt like. So at least one, if not both of them, should have gone in. I did like this setup better, even though the score is about the same, but it did just feel more comfortable. It felt more balanced to me and just gave me a little bit better feeling of both distance control and face control. All right, so I think this is the configuration I'm probably going to play around with for a while now and just see what happens. Again, 30 grams up here, 10 grams down here, and we'll see how it goes. So the Sense putter grip and putter weighting system. The grip itself in the rectangular prism shape, definitely unique looking, definitely unique feeling. However, after you putt with it for a while, you just kind of get used to it. Is it better? Is it worse than a traditional style grip? I don't know. I didn't really notice a big difference there. I got used to it pretty quickly, and so that wasn't a big deal. The bigger deal, the more important part of this, for me at least, was the ability to move that weight around and change the amount of weight that you put inside that shaft to really play around with different balances, different feels in that putter. So if you're someone who likes to tinker, if you're someone who wants to experiment with counterbalancing, then this Sense putter weighting system is definitely right up your alley. You can take this to the putting green and just spend hours there trying different configurations and seeing what gives you the best combination of distance and direction. So there you go. Definitely going to keep this on my Astral putter for a while, see what happens, and I'll keep you in the loop and see if I keep it on long term or go back to something else. But right now, I think it definitely has some potential, so we'll see what happens. Hey, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you go down below, like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell icon so you'll be alerted when I post new videos. I will leave a link both to Sense putter grips down in the description and, in case you're wondering, to Astral putters down in the description in case you're interested in this putter that I've been using for a while. Hey, if you've got any interest in a fitting or if you've got a custom build or a repair that you want to get taken care of, all my contact information is down below, and I will see you on the next video. Take care.